Today, in our Global CEO series, I am proud to present an enthusiastic professional with proven leadership abilities in handling multiple tasks while making it a point to always stay atop the learning curve. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Dr. Clive Fernandez, Group Clinical Director at Wockhardt Group of Hospitals and consultant with JCI. Welcome, Dr. Clive.
Hi, Mani. Thank you for having me.
Sure, sir. The Wockhardt entity is quite a large group in itself. How has having such a network of hospitals been beneficial to Wockhardt?
See, having a large network, has its pros and has its cons. Definitely there are more pros, when we look at it, and because I am the group clinical director, I would like to share on the clinical aspects, But I will still talk a little about the other leverages too, when we talk about clinical part of it, I have, five fingers are not alike. So, I have specialists in hospitals who have varied experience. Some of my hospitals excel in something, the others excel in something else. So by having a group, we leverage these strengths and we can use it. And we do use that also at times. Coming to the other parts, if you look at the financial part, when you have a group, that gives you the power to leverage for consumable items. You get that at a better rate. When you get things at a better rate, you're able to pass it on to your customers. And it helps in bringing down the cost of healthcare. The other part of it would be, we have crises at times when there are no nurses in one place or someone is not there and you don't have anyone available. Having a group helps us to shift, transfer from one to another rapidly. So, I think group helps and leverages it. We work as a team.
It certainly does. I believe there's also an advisory board of Wockhardt. So what our viewers would like to know, how is Wockhardt's advisory board different from the usual knowledge sharing groups that most other hospitals have?
Okay, so let me tell you about what is a knowledge sharing group. A knowledge sharing group is where you do something and you write it and you publish it and then other people read it. Now in Wockhardt, what we have done over this past 3 years, and that is exactly where the strength of a group came in mind, we have cardiologists in all our hospitals, we have neurologists in all our hospitals, critical care experts in all our hospitals. So I just wanted to link them up, I said let us leverage, use the strengths of each other. So initially I linked them up and they were doing just knowledge sharing for the first, this is my case and this is what I did. As of today, they have gone much beyond that. They discuss, I'm going to do a case tomorrow. I have this doubt, if I do it this way, they bring all the investigations, they bring the x-rays, they share it with their peers, and we get valuable inputs where there are a lot of people who tell them what you're doing is the right thing and that's good. Then there are some people who even tell them, okay, but if you do it this way, be careful, you might have this complication, So in that way, the advisory board is not only I've done this and people read. It's about, between both
actually
of them.
Sharing all your experiences.
Yeah, there's a lot of interactive and and one thing I know as a physician myself, when a physician is applauded by his own peers, it feels there's nothing.
Dissatisfaction.
So I've seen a lot of times, and now we have started the advisory board for all 8 of our specialties.
That's really commendable, by the way.
So, like Dr. Matthews is a very renowned name in cardiology in India. He's the father of angioplasty in India.
Wow.
So he is our group cardiology head. He chairs our cardiology advisory board meetings. Now imagine we have young cardiologists in some units. We have some with a little experience. Imagine the experience they get, the learning they get when a person like Dr. Matthews, tells them what they're doing is good and even at the same time points out what he thinks would have done work better and differently, So it really helps them a lot clinically. So that's the difference I think between the advisory board and a knowledge.
Of course. In 2013 alone, there were over 400,000 deaths due to incorrect medications. Why do you think it is so, particularly in India?
See, when you say 400,000 deaths, let me clarify a little here. It is not 400,000 deaths in India, and it's not about medications only. There was a report in the Indian IOM in 1998. The report turned very famous by the name of "To Err is Human." So a lot of people say, and it primarily said 98,000 deaths are caused due to medical errors, including medication. So there were a lot of people who were astonished, surprised, and there were some who didn't believe it. And they went in to do a re-survey, and that is when this other study came which said the number of deaths is not 98,000, it's more than 400,000. And it's not that this is something that has just been discovered. This has always been there. It is now that we are learning about it, we are measuring it, and we are managing it. And most of these deaths, as we look at it, most of these deaths are preventable. And there have to be a few things that we need to do rather than focus on a person, focus on a system, put in safe practices. And accreditations help a lot because accreditations basically focus on safe systems rather than an individual. So 400,000 is bad. I agree with you. We need to do something about it. That I agree. And we are doing, when you look at NABH, when you look at JCI, the prime intention of these accreditation bodies is to make medical care safer, provide a safer environment for the patient. So it will not disappear. 400,000 will not turn zero over the next 2 or 3 years. But with all the sustained efforts of the accreditation bodies, I feel 400,000 will come down. It will not go up.
This brings me to my very next question. What steps does Wockhardt Group of Hospitals take with regards to quality and patient safety?
At Wockhardt, we have always believed, and that is that we don't do things for accreditation. An accreditatory body comes for 3 days, 5 days and is gone. And they will be with you after 3 years. We do things in Wockhardt because we believe that is the right way of doing things. And let me give you an example. An NABH or a JCI does not require you to measure 154 parameters for patient safety. We measure 154 parameters. These parameters are measured on a monthly basis at each of our hospitals. We have put baselines, we have put targets. These parameters are reviewed by our head quality at corporate, and I also sit in a lot of those reviews.
Amazing.
Apart from that, when I go to the units, during my unit review, I don't look at data, I look at practice on the ground. Because there's a big probability that people know what data I want to see.
Okay.
And the way we do it in JCI is also a tracer methodology where you follow the patient, not the data. So in Wockhardt hospitals, we do a lot of audits. I have cross-unit audits happening every 6 months. So one of my units in Nagpur would be audited by a team coming from Nasik, Rajkot and Goa. Auditors from different places. So the way we keep people on their toes is, they know we are not doing this for an accreditation. We are there to review, to guide them. We have these internal audits. And from time to time, we even apply for awards and get validation from the community about the good things that we are doing.
So we certainly hope then that all of these institutions are not getting accredited only because auditors are coming or they are being inspected, but because it is actually expected out of these institutions to follow.
But I'll take a leaf from the inspection and expectation part, because I firmly believe, and that's exactly what I just shared with the audience also. In India and in most places of the world, when it comes to quality and patient safety, people really don't do what is expected.
True.
They only do what is inspected. So on our side, till that stage comes where the inspection part is removed, we will keep inspecting, we will keep raising the bar, we will keep people on their toes. They know we are coming, they will keep doing what we want them to do, and our belief is over a period of time, it will become a part of their DNA. Because my whole philosophy is, I don't want them to do this for me or for an accreditation. I want them to do it because that is the way they need to do it, that's the right way. Today they need to make an effort for it, but if we keep pushing them, over a period of time, that mindset change will happen, it will be a part of their DNA.
Godspeed to such a cause then. We would just like to know some of your views. How is the healthcare industry going to be 10 years down the line, or even 5 for that matter?
That is, a difficult one and an easy one. I can just, tell you, healthcare is not going to be what it is today.
Okay. That's a bold statement.
That's pretty bold, and it has two aspects to it. If you look at the clinical part of it, look at technology where it is going. 10 years ago, did you have the robotics, the Da Vinci's?
Certainly not.
We did not know about it. Nowadays, we have hospitals in our country doing it. So when you talk about technology wise and hospital wise, technology is moving at a rapid pace. I really don't even know what might be there 10 years down the line. But one thing definitely, I think clinically there's a lot of work going on in stem cells.
Okay.
So that is, I think, the next big thing to be coming in Wockhardt. There's a lot of work we have done on stem cells. We are in our regulatory phase yet, but there's a lot of work going on, and looking at that work, I know stem cells also is a next big thing. But that is the hospital part. Now let's look at it as a consumer. We are more aware. You are more aware as a consumer. I am more aware as a consumer. Things that I come to the hospital for today, I will expect it to come to my home tomorrow. And it's already begun. Like your blood sampling, your physiotherapy,
they do come, yeah.
your physiotherapy, the nursing piece. So I am looking at a lot of focus shifting from inpatients to day care. You're going to have a lot of home care services. You're going to have a lot of day care services. That is, with regard to customer expectations, but with the level of, Google that we have nowadays, the awareness of the customer has increased, which is good. It is good, but then you are going to have patients who are going to be more aware of what their problem is when they talk to their doctors. And they would not like, things to be done to them which you don't need to do. So looking at it, I think home care is the next big thing. A very aware patient is the next big thing. Day care. So from the client part of it, that is what is going to be the next thing in the next 5 years.
So I believe there is some golden era a few years down the line from a patient's point of view, so to speak.
No, but if you look at it, even, I'll come back to your question on what is Wockhardt doing with regard to quality, and I'll mesh it with this. 10 years down the line, 10 years ago, we had open heart surgery, we didn't have pathways, we didn't have protocols. In Wockhardt today, we follow pathways for many of our procedures, like a CABG, a TKR. Now, what would that mean? That means irrespective of the surgeon. If it's a TKR, this step is done on this day for the patient, all patients.
Okay.
So we have standardized care for TKR, CABG. So let's come back to today. 15 years ago, open heart surgery, we don't know how many days the patient used to be admitted. Maybe 15, maybe 20. Today in my Rajkot hospital, my patient is discharged on day 5.
That's all. It takes just 5 days.
Yes, and that is, in some of the hospitals we have a 6-day pathway, but in my Wockhardt unit our patients are discharged on day 5. So looking at going forward, apart from awareness, robotics, I look at a lot of standardization coming in the way every procedure is being performed. So irrespective of who does it, where they do it, there will be an expectation that they do it in a standardized manner.
Okay, sir. So after having interacted with the UBS students and faculty alike and understanding the unique UBS model, what are some of your views about the same?
On the model?
Of the UBS model as well as the kind of students that we have here.
I was very impressed with the students when I interacted with them. Frankly speaking, before I came here, I had it in mind. I did a little research. Do these people have a background in healthcare? How receptive they would be to the whole lecture? But after interacting with them for 45 minutes, I can tell you I am pretty impressed, and I think this is a smart batch. They know what they are doing. They were able to extrapolate my lecture from healthcare to their normal situation, and I told them to do that, but the questions they asked in the end were fantastic. So I think UBS is doing a good job. You've got a bright batch of students, and I would like to wish them all the best.
On this note, I would like to extend our warmest gratitude to you, Dr. Clyde, for you took time out of your busy schedule and shared your pearls of wisdom with us. On behalf of entire Universal Business School, I thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manik, for having me.